There was a press conference at 1 p.m. today at the Paulding Atlanta Northwest Airport, which was hit severely by last night's tornado. Damage estimates in this county are approaching $10 million, with the majority of the damage centered at the airport. The damages seem to spare the city and county governments, though, and the disaster may not rise to that of a federal disaster, at least in Paulding. Here's the press conference along with some more images of damages in the county.
Pretty much all the aircraft on the airfield are damaged. Most of them, I would say probably 2/3, appear to be totaled.
How much
Could you
traffic?
give us a number on that? The number of planes and aircraft?
We've got 23 aircraft that are based here, and it appears as though probably 19 of the 23 probably be totaled.
Was anybody here when the weather system came through?
No, my understanding is that the tornado came through about 8:30. My staff had left the building at about 5:30, and our FBO staff had left at about 7:30.
When you say hangars, that's one hangar. What's the other hangar that was damaged?
Well, those are individual hangar units. So
those are there,
there are
okay.
13 units in there,
Okay.
and pretty much all of them are damaged.
Talk to us about that. Everybody's been talking about that plane right there.
Yeah, the
You
jet.
can see, talk to us about what it's like up close. Like, is it off the ground? Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, the front of the aircraft is off the ground. It appears as though the hangar door was pushed back into the plane, and it actually picked the front of the plane up and shoved it through the back of the hangar. So the tail section's actually sticking into the next hangar over.
What kind of aircraft is that? Is that a Falcon jet?
I know it's a Citation 3.
Citation 3. What is the value of that jet?
I say the value of that's probably around 1.2 to 1.4 million.
What do you think is the total damage here at the airport? That guesstimate.
Yeah, guesstimate, first guess on aircraft, about $5 million worth of damage in aircraft, and probably in facilities, about $1.5 to $2 million.
How much regular traffic was this airport seeing?
On any given day, probably 20 to 25 takeoffs and landings.
And so now you said this is going to have to be rebuilt, full shutdown?
Pretty much. As you can see, the terminal building is still intact, but the roof is heavily damaged. Some of the windows are busted out. There is some water damage on the inside. So as of right now, the airport's closed, and it will remain closed until we've secured everything and make sure that we don't have anything out on the airport that would damage an aircraft coming in.
Mr. Austin, what can you tell us about the damage assessments in the neighborhoods in Paulding County?
It's pretty devastated in certain places. Southwest part of the county, I guess, was hit first. Southern Trace subdivision got hit pretty hard. Clear Creek, right down from the airport, and the superintendent's here to talk about the schools. It seems as if maybe a total of 100 homes were damaged or destroyed completely. We're just so thankful that there wasn't a loss of life. Some injuries we don't know about yet, but
What do we know about the power situation? Any neighborhoods still without power?
Several neighborhoods without power. City of Dallas is here, the mayor, and we'll let him talk about what's out in Dallas, but Polk Avenue and some of Willow Springs sustained some power outages. It may be until tomorrow before we're able to restore that. But what I have to say is the volunteers have stepped forward. You see them in the neighborhoods, cleaning up and with their chainsaws and working. Churches are open, and Little Caesars called and said, where do we bring our truck and who do we need to feed? And it's an amazing county to be the chairman of.
Are you going to ask for a federal declaration, disaster declaration?
That's up to our emergency manager, Chief Earwood. The request that will be done, it's hard to say, and Phil may be able to, Congressman Gingrey may be able to answer that better. But I think a lot of it was personal damage, homes and stuff, so it may be hard to get.
Well, Chairman Austin, thank you, and I think that is exactly right. It would be up to Chief Earwood and Sheriff Gullidge and others to assess the total damage, and then of course that request has to come to the federal government, indeed to FEMA and to the President for the declaration, and it has to come through the governor's office. And it's my understanding that Paulding County has already been in communication with Governor Deal regarding that, and then I'm sure next week we'll find out. But you know, again, Paulding County is one of 9 counties in the 11th Congressional District of Georgia, Northwest Georgia, but it's my closest neighbor, and I live in Cobb, and that's part of the district as well. And I'll tell you, this county has had some tough luck in the last few years, and the old expression, if it hadn't been for bad luck, they'd have no luck at all. But the resilience and the spirit of these people and the elected leadership, Mayor Austin, Chairman Austin, the emergency responders, this is a tough community, and they will recover, because everything that happens to them, they look at it as the glass is not half empty, it's half full. And thank God there was no loss of life.
I don't have any damage estimates right now. I can tell you that when the storm started last night, we activated the Emergency Operations Center about 9 o'clock once we saw the cell coming in out of Alabama. We had the fire department and the Department of Transportation responded right away. The Emergency Operations Center was opened about 2 o'clock this morning, and the crews have been busy nonstop.
Have you been in contact with the National Weather Service? Have they been able to confirm for any of you that these were or was a tornado that went through?
No confirmation yet. We were in touch with National Weather Service late yesterday afternoon. There was a briefing that was held with our emergency managers and the National Weather Service, and we had some expectation that we might see something. We had no idea it'd be this bad.
Damage is pretty significant. It cut a swath across our neighborhood. The Polk Avenue neighborhood, Confederate Avenue, Hart Circle, Watson Drive, West Memorial, Old Ackworth Road have seen significant damage. The power has been out on most of those streets. I want to thank my staff and the cooperation we received from the county. We were able to get some of the roads open last night after about 3 hours, which was incredible. I had a man that lived through the earlier tornado at Lake Burton, and he called this morning and said, "I can't believe that I could get in as quick as I did." So significant damage. A lot of older homes have very extensive damage, and we're assessing that now, trying to get the neighborhoods open where the volunteers can get in and help some of those shut-ins and the elderly that aren't able to clean up and to get ready for the damage assessments from their insurance carriers.
Was there any damage to city property?
Not to city property that I know of yet. It went north of the downtown section. I live on Confederate Avenue, which is north of there. It basically went about 8 houses above mine. There's significant damage at the cemetery. It came across Polk Avenue and through the cemetery over Confederate into Hart Circle and the Watson Drive community.
Okay, I thought it may have gotten Sarah Babb Park some.
No,
Okay.
It kind of went through west of there.
Poole Elementary was the only school that sustained any damage last night with 33 schools. Poole, we have one wing with the probably 60% of the roof ripped off through the wind. We had 6 mobile units that were overturned, windows broken out on another wing throughout the night. 7 classrooms in the building, sustained mainly water damage due to the rain that came after the wind. That's where the significant damage is in that one area.
Our number one priority was getting the campus cleaned up, the debris off the campus to make sure it was safe for students to come back on, and then again for the engineers to come and assess the damage to the building.
What's the backup plan?
We've got a couple. I mean, it could possibly be canceling school for Monday for Poole Elementary, but then we also have looked at relocation to another facility that's close by.
And those destroyed mobile units, what were they, classrooms?
No, the mobile units that were destroyed were used for storage. They had previously been used for classrooms, and they have not been in use for the last 3 years.
Is that one of the older schools in Paulding?
No, ma'am. It is Poole Elementary. I think it's probably 10 years old.
Okay.
Basically, we can tell you that we've been in contact with emergency personnel throughout the county. Chief Earwood is our fire chief as well as the emergency manager. He's been in contact with GEMA. GEMA has a crew coming out this afternoon to assess the damage, and deputies have been in the area responding to any types of calls that where there's a need. We would like to urge the public to try to stay out of these affected areas. These people are trying to collect their belongings, and we want to make sure there's no looting or things of that nature. So we would really like to encourage folks to stay out of the area until it's time for the cleanup efforts to begin. And we would also like to encourage folks that are displaced or need a place to stay to call the emergency number to our dispatch center. That is 770-445-2117. Anyone needing shelter or assistance can call that number. That's our dispatch center, and they can be directed to the correct folks. We do know that the Red Cross is out here. They have 2 emergency response vehicles in the area, and they are assisting in the cleanup efforts as well.
Has there been any reports of looting so far?
No, we have no reports of looting or anything like that. The biggest thing is that people just want to come out and see what's going on, and we're trying to organize a way for people to actually help the citizens of the county. We just have to do it in an organized manner because you don't want chaos in this type of situation.
Volunteers, how would people volunteer if they want to come out and volunteer? Is there a number, or do they need to go to their church? Or
well, right now we have several churches, as Mayor Austin just stated. The First Baptist Church of Dallas, I believe, is organizing some efforts. West Ridge Baptist Church is also organizing some efforts. So what we would do.
Saints.
Which one?
The Latter-day Saints.
The Church of Latter-day Saints is organizing efforts. So basically, if we could get people to go to those churches and try to gather with those individuals, then it would be a more organized effort rather than just people going here and there and folks being everywhere.
Okay, but y'all don't have no set-up number or anything of that nature?
No, not at this time. We don't.
Okay.
Is the department controlling access to some of these affected neighborhoods?
We're not really controlling access as much as we're trying to keep people out that don't belong in the neighborhoods.
Right.
We'll be out all night. You know, the people coming in and loitering. If they try to loot these places, we'll do our best to put them in jail, so we'll give them a place to stay where it's warm and dry for them.
And again, no word of any injuries?
We have no reports of even minor injuries. We've been thoroughly blessed all night long. We've got a lot of substantial damage and almost no injuries whatsoever and no deaths. I mean, you know, we could be out picking up bodies out of fields this morning. Thank God we're not. All we got to do is, this is a real strong community. A lot of people's born and raised here. They'll come up out of everything they're doing. They'll go to fight, and we'll rebuild this town, and everything will go back to normal.
You mentioned Chima coming